All right, guys, Levi Trumbull reporting outside of the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. So these days, I'm wearing a lot of hats. I'm playing reporter, I'm playing process server, I'm doing a lot of things. As you know, I made a video a little bit ago where I told you about the fact that I served Sheriff Chuck Jenkins a subpoena. Well, I just did that again for the second time. I served Sheriff Chuck Jenkins with a Maryland subpoena. This relates to a case that Sean Porter is involved in. He's going to tell you all about it. He is trying to get that June 17th body camera footage that we have told you about. We are having a hard time doing that. Sean Porter is trying to get this body camera footage so that he can use it during the normal course of trial. What's going on here?
All kinds of crazy stuff is going on. This is like Jerry Springer, revisited. Essentially, we have now served upon Sheriff Chuck Jenkins, and by we, I mean myself and others. This is now 5 subpoenas total, 1 civil, 2 criminal for a case that's likely to be null prost. And if the case gets null prost, if they take a look at it when they're reviewing the subpoena and they see the case is basically BS, it's going to get null prost and they won't have to comply. The 2 that were served today were both civil in 2 different civil cases that I'm not at liberty to discuss. But I do have the power of subpoena in both cases, and I am involved in both cases. Therefore, I will have standing to move forward should the Sheriff's Department not honor the subpoenas, file BS motions to quash, if they engage in abusive process, if they try to engage in anything that's contemptuous. I'm going to call them on absolutely everything. It's so bad that I actually had to bring the lovely Tamar Fleischman from Baltimore to witness the subpoenas being served directly to Sheriff Chuck Jenkins. This is all on him at this point. I like the guy. I voted for him every time. We have a disagreement about this issue. I wish it would be resolved, but, push comes to shove, this is going for, it's going to court. It's going to be subjected to judicial review in actually multiple formats because there's so many different instances. They denied my Public Information Act request. Another attorney out of Washington County, a very prestigious attorney whose name I'm not going to mention, his PIA was refused, and the grounds for the refusal is BS. And it's very broad, overly broad, vague, and capricious at best. So long story short, there's a lot going on here. And guys, today, the White Rabbit actually, Levi, you should talk to White Rabbit because he actually served one of the subpoenas upon Sheriff Jenkins. Look at this guy. I mean, if you got a guy dressed up like a giant bunny rabbit serving you a subpoena while an attorney is watching you and a reporter is doing a news broadcast out front, you probably should just give up the video, I would think. But Levi, why don't you have a word with our fluffy friend here?
How do you think the sheriff's disposition was when you served him, Rabbit? Good. Good. All right, and I can confirm that I served him 1 subpoena, the Rabbit served him another subpoena. So I know you said a minute ago that you're not at liberty to discuss at length these cases, but I think, is there anything that you can say about them? You said there was some civil, some criminal, because I think that is the question that a lot of people are going to want to have on their mind is you're trying to serve subpoenas, but what are these cases about?
Well, basically, they all relate to the same people, which I'm not going to discuss right now. As body camera footage, when you walk up to a blinking camera and start telling it stuff, you have no expectation of privacy. It's a record kept in the ordinary course. It's a business record. It's a public record. We have the right to see it. We have the right to inspect it. We have the right to do whatever we want with it. And long story short, the fact that they're denying it makes me think that there is something huge going on. And I just got word from Eric Beasley just before we went on here that it may actually have footage of Bigfoot on there, and this may actually blow the lid on the whole Bigfoot, whether or not it exists type situation there. So we're hoping to find out if Bigfoot exists once we get this footage back, but at the very least, I need to use it at trial.
What do you think it's going to do to your case if you do not, or your cases, if you do not get this record?
There are a plethora of leads in this video, and I know what's on the video because it was described to me by somebody whom I trust. He's actually a friend of Forrest Gump's. And basically, I know that it's gonna help me discover new evidence in multiple proceedings for multiple people, and it benefits the public. You know, the release of this would benefit so many people. Why on earth would they hide it? I don't understand why Bigfoot's right to privacy is even involved in a matter of a public records request.
What is the timeline going to be? When are you going to start taking action against the sheriff's office if they do not comply with this subpoena? When does this happen? I don't know how quickly these cases are going to move, these cases that you won't discuss. I don't know what the timeline is for those cases, but as a general theory, you want your discovery as quick as possible so that you can prepare your defense as quick as possible.
Well,
so what do you do if they don't turn it over?
Well, they would have to file a motion to quash, and they haven't done that in the 2 criminal proceedings. They did it in the first civil proceeding, and we're letting that one go because it's the same person that's also in a criminal proceeding. And, you know, the power of the subpoena is much stronger in that one, and it's clearly it's evidence. It's exculpatory in nature, so she has an absolute right to that evidence. Maybe do a protest, maybe make a giant sign, maybe rent out the Goodyear blimp, the one that has the screen. You can put whatever, you know, lettering you want on it.
I said in the video that it's my belief that it is never proper for any government agency to try to play this game, and when they do try to play this game and not turn over records that are publicly accessible, all it does is make the story 10 times bigger, and it just blows everything up much bigger than it ever needed to be in the first place. Do you share in that sentiment? And here's my final question for you. Here's how we're going to close this out. It's my belief that there will come a time when this footage is released, come hell or high water. I believe that you are going to go through the proper channels, as will many other people, to see that this record is disclosed as it should be. So what's your take? Do you think ultimately there is going to come a point where this comes out, and do you agree with my sentiment that this is only making it worse for them?
I agree with the fact that it's making it much, much bigger, for sure. Much, much bigger than it already is. And it's already big enough, but it's going to make it a whole lot bigger and bigger and even more bigger. And, yeah, long story short, no one here is playing games. I don't think they understand. I want this video for many, many lawful purposes. I'm entitled to it. Fork it over.
Do you think you're going to get it?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to get it.
Okay.
I'm going to get it for sure.
He's going to get it for sure. All right. I may or may not hold you to that standard. Anyway, thank you very much, Sean Porter, Rabbit. This has been good, and we will keep everyone updated as it relates to the attempt over here to try to get access to lawful public records. Levi Trumbull reporting outside of the Frederick County Sheriff's Office in Frederick, Maryland.